So what do I do when I feel like relationships are so anxiety provoking that I can just barely engage in them? And we're not just talking about romantic relationships. We could be talking about friendships. We could be talking about meeting people at a party. Little mini relationships. But it can extend into every part of life. Your work life, and just feeling so nervous in that moment of coming together with somebody that we feel paralyzed by that. And I want to say that this is something I understand because I lived through a period of my life where this was really strong. I'm a funny person because I was kind of born an extrovert, became an introvert for a number of years as a child, and through college actually, and then now I'm a raging extrovert again. But I wanted to say that, there was that period when I was an introvert. Some people are just naturally introverts. There's no problem with that. But I think I was an introvert for a very particular reason, which was that I felt so anxious that I couldn't relax around people. And I think this had to do with a kind of expectation I carried into the relationships, that I wasn't sure that this person was going to be able to reflect back what I wanted them to reflect back. I was looking for a very particular kind of reflection, and it was hard to find. It was hard to find the right person to relate with, where they could actually say, "Oh yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying," and furthermore, here's something else you're interested in. And, I was looking for something to reflect me. I didn't know I was doing that. It was very unconscious at the time. But it created a real tension inside me, because who would I really encounter in life? People who were not like me. People who didn't understand things from the same perspective as I did, and people who, had their own perspectives, for that matter. And I, in a very unrealistic way, wanted them to be similar to me. And I want to explore this. I think, really, we could look at this from the perspective of not having enough care for myself. If we don't care for ourselves, there's always this weak spot in us. And at the time, I think I was pretty harsh with myself and very unrealistic about, where I should be in my life. I was unwilling to let myself just make mistakes and explore, and try things out and try conversations out and see who somebody was. I was really quick to judge. I was quick to judge myself. I would actually really go through my own experience and pick myself apart. I didn't have a sense of peace with myself. And honestly, it wouldn't be for years until I learned how to do that. And I have to say that was a learning process. For me, mindfulness meditation was a huge part of it. And really studying teachings on compassion was a big part of it. Finding that, yes, I make mistakes, so do others. And yes, I don't live up to my own ideals. That's true for others. And being kinder to myself, ironically, softened my judgments of others, right? So I wasn't so quick to pick them apart, and to actually give them a little bit of space to be who they are. And even if it's not to my liking, learning how to look further. Sometimes at a distance, let's be honest. it's good to keep a little distance sometimes, but just being curious and looking further. And this process then, ironically, softened as I softened my own harshness towards myself. I learned how to soften to others, and guess what? The conversations were more fun. They were more engaging. They were funnier. There were things to learn. Even if I didn't understand someone, that was something to look into, to ask questions, and be curious. And then, if somebody really didn't want to engage with me, to then kind of respect that, I guess. You could just say, well, they're just not into this. But there are others out there. This isn't a failure that I didn't connect with this person. There's just not a connection there. And move on. So this ironically allowed me to actually delight in relationships and delight in conversations with people I didn't know. And I've really got to enjoy a situation of traveling a lot in the last few years to teach and meeting all sorts of people and just being able to enjoy them for who they are and to get a glimpse into their world. Sometimes one little story that somebody tells you, you think about for years. And even if you're not best friends, they've shown you something. They've really shown you something. Every person is a whole universe of experience. And you get to look into all these universes. So I don't know that that's going to solve anxiety per se. I really think working with meditation, mindfulness meditation, is extremely important. Learning how to actually become familiar with and bear your own experience, including the experience of anxiety, allows us to relax a little bit. Takes work, but it's worth it.